You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. The mother of a 10-year-old says her daughter was traumatized after allegedly being verbally abused by a first responder.
Shut the Shut your mouth.
The video went viral on social media. Peter Alt allegedly curses at the girl as she's being loaded into an ambulance. Alt, who is the chief for the North Babylon Volunteer Fire Company, has been discharged from the department and suspended from his job as a Long Island Railroad conductor. And the state trooper who shot himself on the Southern State Parkway last year has allegedly tried to take his own life. Sources say Thomas Messia was recently hospitalized after a suicide attempt. Messia pleaded guilty to shooting himself and then falsely saying he was shot by someone else, which started a massive search for a non-existent suspect. The 28-year-old is scheduled to be sentenced in 2 weeks. And police say there was no evidence of violence against the woman found dead on a boat in Montauk. The body of Martha Nolan Oslatara was found Tuesday on a docked boat at the Montauk Yacht Club. Investigators are still trying to determine the 33-year-old's cause of death. And Long Island is getting more than $20 million to improve 3 of its roadways. Governor Kathy Hochul says it's to address flooding as heavy rainfall events become a greater concern. It includes improvements along the Meadowbrook State Parkway, the Wantagh State Parkway, and Merrick Road in Amityville. And Suffolk County has kicked off a year-long celebration of America's 250th birthday. The event was held in West Bay Shore, where George Washington stayed as he toured Long Island. The county is hosting multiple events leading up to the big anniversary, including a walking trail of the Culper Spy Ring. More info can be found at suffolk250.org. All right, let's take a quick look at tomorrow's weather. Another gorgeous day we had today, and tomorrow looks like it's going to be another beauty with temps near 80s. We'll have sun and clouds all day, and of course, we'll have that 7-day forecast for you later in the broadcast. Today, Newsday is launching our new investigative series, Unprotected. This first report focuses on a Patchogue girl whose disappearance made headlines. A warning, though, the case involves allegations of sex trafficking, child kidnapping, drug use, and rape. Sherry Einhorn brings us a story.
As a little girl growing up, family members described her as artistic and athletic, high-spirited and smart. She was someone who picked things up easily and could have done anything she wanted to. But something changed that altered the path her life would take.
I feel very sorry for her she's broken. She's so broken. That's what hurts me.
That's the step-grandmother of the Patchogue girl who was allegedly trafficked for sex and traded for drugs. Her 25-day disappearance and rescue made headlines. 23 people in New York and Minnesota have been charged in connection with what happened to her. We're not naming the girl because she's a minor and the victim of sex crimes. At a time when most teenagers are shopping at the mall, juggling middle school, and experiencing first crushes, this now 15-year-old already knows the rush of crack cocaine and the trauma of allegedly being raped by men older than her father. Newsday reviewed hundreds of pages of documents related to the teen's case and also interviewed dozens of people. Her parents, Melissa Dervey and Frank Gervasi, divorced when she was 4. Gervasi runs an auto detailing business out of his father's auto body shop in Setauket. When his daughter disappeared, he launched a social media campaign all about his search for her.
We love you very much. We miss you, and we want you to come home.
People following the story noticed Gervasi and his new wife, the girl's stepmother, were also active on Pornhub, promoting live sex shows and posting amateur sex videos. Some of those videos were recorded in the home where they all live. A former classmate of the girl says the girl showed one of her dad's sex videos to her friends. We tried to talk to her dad several times, but he wouldn't answer questions.
I don't want to talk to anybody right now. I told you that.
Dervey is a teacher's assistant in Dix Hills. She wouldn't talk to us. Outside her Melville home, though, the teen's maternal grandmother, Karen Dervey, did speak briefly.
We're not public. We're very private. We don't want to go public.
At a young age, you're already vulnerable. You're vulnerable because of your age, period.
Farida Castillo works with victims of sex trafficking.
So I think we, as a society, over-sexualize, hypersexualize young children, and then they are younger and younger and younger being exposed to it. When you normalize sexual behavior in the way that anyone who probably is seeing it at home would, that makes you more susceptible to someone taking advantage of you.
When the girl was just 12 years old, 19-year-old Brandon Keyser was charged with statutory rape. He admitted to having sex with her at a Holtzville movie theater. In an email to Newsday, he claims Gervasi knew my age since day one. He told me his daughter was 2 years younger than me. When she was 13, police found her in a Medford motel with this man, 42-year-old Danny St. Louis, known as Ace on the street. Prosecutors allege he introduced her to crack cocaine. He's accused of raping her, and he's also facing separate sex trafficking charges involving other alleged victims. 2 weeks later, police found her in another motel room rented for her by St. Louis after she ran away from a drug treatment center in Brentwood.
So this is a statement that the girl gave to police on October 9th, 2023, after they found her right here at the Bayshore Inn. She says in here that Ace brought her crack cocaine to smoke several times while she was here. And she also says that she later learns that Ace is Danny St. Louis.
A few months later, in February 2024, she was certified by New York State as a trafficked person, which meant she was entitled to certain services like tutoring and therapy.
Based on what we found, it appears that the systems in place to help a troubled girl like this didn't work.
Newsday reached out to Child Protective Services about the girl's case. CPS records are not public, and officials there refused to comment on the case. Because of her love of horses, her father pushed for equine therapy at this Rocky Point horse farm.
Hi, is this Stephanie?
We spoke by phone with horse farm owner Stephanie Biondi.
She was brought to me by a referral. I worked with her. She came to the barn for a short amount of time, and that was really about it. Anything past that, I can't describe for you.
We found out after that call there were reports the girl was given drugs and alcohol at the horse farm and that men over 20 years old were hanging out with her. We tried Stephanie again, but didn't get a call back.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available.
Because of what's been described as a lack of follow-through from the girl's father, some of her therapies stopped less than 2 weeks before she disappeared from her Patchogue home on December 9th, 2024, and the highly publicized search for her began.
A lot of people ask me about background, and there's a little bit of confusion about that, and I really don't want to get into it too much, but she's a beautiful, smart little girl that's had some trouble throughout her life, a lot of trauma that she's hurting from inside.
In the more than 3 weeks the teen was missing, she was never more than 25 miles from her home, being kept in places from Bellport to Bohemia to Copiague and Islip. According to court documents, some of the defendants offered her drugs for sex. Others allegedly traded her in exchange for drugs and money.
It is unusual in the sense of the scale of it. I think it's a more extreme example of things that go on, but it's not the only case of like this. It's not the only time that this is happening either in this county or other counties.
Experts say it happens in hotels, motels, private homes, and online. They admit it's just as easy to buy sex as it is to order a pizza.
Within 5 miles of where we sit right now, I can guarantee you someone's being trafficked. The victims could be any age
race or gender, really. And even if you do come from a good background, every kid is impressionable and everyone's looking for attention, So I think that's where, it can come into play, really, from any family, can be at risk.
I just want to put this video out there because the more videos I post on her, the more exposure she gets.
Gervasi's flurry of Facebook updates during the search for his daughter seemed to take on a life of their own among those who were involved in and following the search.
Do you have the girl and the father there as well? I got a call that she was going to be there. That wasn't here on the phone.
January 3rd, 2025, the search came to an end in Islip when the girl was found on this yacht by her father. He repeatedly declined to be interviewed by us, but did give an interview to Dr. Phil 5 days after his daughter was discovered.
You have no doubt in your mind that your daughter was the victim of sex trafficking. Is that true?
That's 100% correct.
With the girl found and in treatment, prosecutors are pushing forward with charges of kidnapping, rape, and sex trafficking. 3 men charged on Long Island are facing the possibility of life in prison. But attorneys for some of the suspects claim the girl said she was over 18.
She was there on her own voluntarily, and that's our position.
Even though she's 14 and unable to consent.
Well, there's a difference between consent and voluntariness. And she stayed on that boat. She didn't run. She didn't call for help.
In court, though, prosecutors argued the defendants capitalized on the vulnerabilities of a 14-year-old child for their own personal gain. For Newsday TV, I'm Shari Einhorn.
Now, to read the whole story and to see a list of resources available for people who need help, go to Newsday.com. All right, let's take a closer look at your 7-day forecast, shall we? And it's going to be another beautiful couple of days like we've seen the last couple of days before here. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all going to be gorgeous. We're all going to be in the 80s, sun and clouds overhead, but no rain in sight. So go out and enjoy.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Sun Nation Energy, helping Long Island homes and businesses save with solar for over 20 years.
You're watching Newsday TV. For more on all the stories you've seen here today, head over to Newsday.com. I'm Ken Buffa. Thank you so much for joining us.